And hello there. We'd like to welcome you into the Philly and Fred show for Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Robert Kraft not making the Hall of Fame and a couple of other people that didn't. Wide receiver rankings, the best games of 2025, 2026. Who you taking, true or false? And we're going to end with what we think the AFC North rankings are next year from 1 to 4. So the first thing we talked about, or the first thing we're going to talk about, Robert Kraft not making the Hall of Fame. I mean, it just feels like the Belichick thing. I don't get how a guy that picked the greatest head coach of all time and had something to do with drafting the greatest quarterback of all time and now owns the greatest franchise of all time doesn't make the Hall of Fame. But it just feels like pettiness that they think they were cheating and they apparently uh, made them pay for it. But I guess the money and the draft picks and all that weren't enough because now they're making them wait a year to get in the Hall of Fame. And it's just like the Belichick thing. Like, if you think what they did was that egregious, don't ever let them get in. Like, don't do this thing where you let them get in a year after their first time. Like, no, if you think it's truly that bad, never let them get in the Hall of Fame. But like I said, I think it's the Robert Kraft is just as ridiculous as Belichick not getting in. And I don't understand it. Maybe they'll vote him in next year. I don't know. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely petty and really unfortunate, and it all comes down to the Bill Belichick thing. That's really all it is because the resume is obviously there. He's took three different head coaches to a Super Bowl, including this year, and yeah, he's done everything as you could. But yeah, that's all it comes down to.
Well, and it feels like the T.O. thing. Like they made T.O. wait 3 years before he got in the Hall of Fame, and they changed rules because he had no off the field issues, and they thought, and they didn't like him, and they thought he was not good in the locker room, and they made him wait 3 years because of some ridiculous claim that he wasn't a team guy, and that he was a locker room killer, and then one of the greatest receivers of all time is not a first ballot. He's actually, it takes him 3 years to get in, and that's another one which that needs to be talked about more. That the Hall of Fame is just the process is just ridiculous. Because if T.O.
It
is not a
is.
first ballot, and then Bill Belichick's not a first ballot, and Robert Kraft's not a first ballot, and oh, by the way, another person that's not in the Hall of Fame, Mike Shanahan. I mean, one of the greatest head coaches of all time. I mean, had great offenses. Was basically, I mean, all these new offenses you see running now, like a lot of the top offenses ran his scheme and things he did. So, like, yeah, I don't get it. Mike Shanahan won 2 Super Bowls, and he's not in. I mean, T.O. wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. They just, I don't know what they can do to change the process, but something's got to change because what's happening right now is just not, it's not fair to the players, the coaches, owners. Like, it's not fair to anyone. So,
It's
yeah,
not even fair
that's,
to the Pro Bowl. Like, what are the qualifications to get in now? Like, that's what it came down to. Yeah, it's quite ridiculous. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
when it's just, and it also not as only ridiculous because of that, it's ridiculous because these media people do it. And then if a guy doesn't like, isn't happy go lucky about always speaking at media day, they can be like, oh, we don't like you and we're not going to let you get in the first year. Basically, being a petty child, they could be a petty child and be like, well, you didn't give us interviews and you did this one thing that wasn't even proven 25 years ago that everyone does. So now we're going to make you pay for it. Just like a nerd, a loser that got bullied, and now he's got the power, and he's just going to try to. Which Belichick wasn't a. Yeah, I don't know. Process is dumb. I don't like it, but that's it for the Kraft Belichick's talk. Next, we're going to move on to the wide receiver rankings from 5 to 1. I'll go first. These are my top 5 receivers from this year. I'm going to go George Pickens first. I mean, the only real year playing in a good offense, and he had 1,429 yards this year. Fourth on my list, I got St. Brown. His last 3 seasons, almost 1,400 yards a year and 11 touchdowns a year. Next, I'm going to go Jamar Chase. Burrow only played 8 games this year, and he had 14-12. When he's played 16 plus games in his career, he's been 14.47 per year. So that's a stud. Puka, number 2 on the list. Puka, in 2 healthy seasons, Puka had 1,486 yards and 1,715 yards. And then JSN, I think he's going to lead the league in receiving this next year, and he did it this year. He's good at quarterback. His quarterback's going to come back. The offense is going to be the same. I know they lost their OC, but I think the offense is going to be a well-oiled machine, and he'll be a dog again. What's your rankings, Philip?
Yeah, I'll give an honorable mention real fast to George Pickens. What he did this year was phenomenal. For five, I'm gonna go. I'm on Ross St. Brown. He's had 1,000 plus receiving yards every year of his career, except for his rookie year where he finished just below that. Can catch anything. Route runs phenomenal. So he's gonna be at my five. Four, I'm gonna go Justin Jefferson. With arguably the worst quarterback this season, he still finished with over 1,000 yards. He has every year of his career. It was a down year for him, and he still finished over 1,000 yards. So that's telling you something. Three, I'm gonna go Jamar Chase. Also has had 1,000 plus receiving yards every single season. Didn't have Joe Burrow for a good chunk of this season and few seasons in the past. So, and he's already got a triple crown to his name. So Jamar Chase at three. Two, I'm gonna go JSN. I'm gonna switch JSN and Puka for our rankings. But yeah, JSN, what he did this year, I believe he would have broke the receiving record had Seahawks not been in so many blowout games where they was up 20, 30 plus points. But what he did this year was phenomenal with Donald. He just played with him for his first season, so and then Puka just can do literally anything for you on the football field. And his build is it's not the greatest. He's not the fastest guy, but he still gets it done. So Puka, my number one.
All righty, next. That's it for receiver talk. We're going to move on to our favorite games this year. Just a couple of mine were first one I'm going to talk about is Bears 47, Bengals 42. I mean, that game was crazy. Philly, you were there for that. I mean, that was a back and forth, multiple lead changes. One team thought they were going to win, the other team thought they were going to win. And boom, Colston Loveland felt like his breakout game, big touchdown. Another big one, Packers 40, Cowboys 40. I mean, the game was a shootout. That with that Cowboys offense, I mean, they're built to play in awesome, fun games. And they did a couple times this year. I could have put their Giants game on here, but I put their Packers game on here. Three, well, not three, but next one, Ravens 40, Bills 41. I mean, up 15 points with 4 minutes left. You think you're going to win the game. And Derrick Henry fumble. And it wasn't the first time we've seen it this year. And then just like that, boom, touchdown, another touchdown. Bills win 41-40 on a field goal. And next, Rams 37, Seahawks 38. I mean, that was just another one, 30-14 in the fourth quarter. Rashid Shaheed touchdown, 2-point conversion, touchdown, or a stop, another touchdown, Seahawks. A crazy 2-point conversion where it hits the helmet off a guy, rolls the end zone, the guy picks it up, didn't even realize he scored it, scored it. Rams scoring overtime, Seahawks scoring overtime. Oh, we'll go for two. They win the game. And then my favorite game of the year, Ravens 24, Steelers 26. I mean, what else can I say? The Ravens lost the first game of the year in a heartbreaker, and they lost the last game of the year in a heartbreaker. I mean, absolutely dominant fourth quarter. Not dominant, but fun fourth quarter. And the Steelers win. So it's awesome also when the Steelers win, especially when they beat the Ravens. And this was just, I think I put this as my favorite just because it was Steelers, obviously, but it meant the most. I mean, this literally was a direct result. Whoever won this game, it was going to end up in a playoff spot. So those were some of my favorite games of the year. What were some of your favorite games of the year, Philip?
I agree with all of those. First, I'll start off with Bears and Bengals. I could have put probably five or six Bears games because obviously we won seven times in the last 2 minutes when we was trailing. So a lot of good games for the Bears. But yeah, Bears Bengals. Eight lead changes in this game. People forget the Bengals returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown, which was crazy. Like you said, Fred, this was the coming out game for Colston Loveland. Six catches, 118 yards for two touchdowns. And yeah, there was just a lot of swings in that game. I was there, of course, and the different adrenaline I had during this whole game was quite insane. That Rams and Seahawks when it was 37-38, that was pretty crazy as well. I've never seen the Zach Charbonnet 2 point conversion. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Just nonchalantly picked it up after it was apparently thrown behind the line of scrimmage. When Rams got up 2 touchdowns late there, you probably thought the Seahawks were dead in the water. He gets a punt return for a touchdown, and that whole game changed. So all three of the games between the Seahawks and Rams were pretty bangers. Another one, I think that's kind of under the radar because Davis Mills played in this game, but the Jags, when they lost 29-36 to the Texans with Davis Mills, Jags led this game 29-10 in the fourth quarter. Few turnovers happened for the Jaguars, and Davis Mills rallied the troops, and they went on a game-winning touchdown in the last 2 minutes of that game, and which was insane. And then the games you already mentioned, basically that Rams, or excuse me, not Rams, the Ravens and Bills game, the first game of the season, I believe, that first week, the comeback by Josh Allen when the Ravens were up. Derrick Henry fumbled a few times in the fourth quarter this year, which they was all detrimental to his team. So yeah, pretty much the same as you had. But yeah, it was some phenomenal games we had through the entire NFL season this year. But there's plenty that you could list. So
Yeah, a lot of fun games this year. It was a fun year, fun playoffs too. Like that's just it's been a nice year. There's been no like the Seahawks are really good, but I mean it's been a pretty even year. Like it felt like a lot of teams had a good chance to win this year, and that resulted in a lot of fun, good games. So yeah, a lot of games this year that were great to watch. This was maybe one of the most interesting years, like especially in a while. It felt like primetime games have almost become like not good football anymore. Like maybe the Sunday night game, but Thursday and Mondays were not good. But I mean, this year there was a lot of good Thursday night games, a lot of good Monday night games. Sunday obviously produced a couple, and then just a couple regular clock, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock games. So yeah, this was a really good year to watch. Really fun year to watch NFL. Next, we're gonna move on to who you taking. The first, who you taking? Who you taking? Julio, Megatron, Randy Moss, or Terrell Owens? And I'm gonna go Julio. I mean, he had a 6 year stretch where he averaged 1,564 yards per year. I mean, and I can't say that it's because he's a physical freak because all these guys are 6'4 plus, 220 plus, and run 4.2s, 4.3s. So I watched this guy play. I didn't watch the other guys play as much. So yeah, Julio to me, I'm taking him over these other three. I mean, that stretch when he was rolling and he had Matt Ryan in Atlanta, I mean, his catch radius was unbelievable. He caught everything. And I think his prime was better than any prime I think I've ever seen. So yeah, I'm going Julio. Who you going with?
yeah, tough resumes by all of these guys, but I'm gonna pick Calvin Johnson. I just think his build at 6'5", 240. I get all of these guys were very physical, tall, and whatnot. But what he did in only 9 seasons with the Detroit Lions, arguably one of the worst franchises in all of the NFL, he had guys like Dante Culpepper, John Kitna, Joey Harrington, obviously Stafford at the end of his career. But if he played 14 plus games, he was getting 1,000 receiving yards automatic. And yeah, what he did with the Detroit Lions, I don't think can be understated. If you just throw it up, you felt like he was gonna come down with it. Calvin Johnson, obviously being a Bears fan, we played him twice a year, and he used to eat our lunch. So this is a guy that I remember vividly the most probably out of these four guys as well. But yeah, Calvin Johnson, I just think was an absolute freak. So that's who I'm gonna take.
Alrighty, next. Who you taking? Vic as a runner, or well, we'll restart that again. Who you taking as a runner, Vic or Lamar? And give me Lamar. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Lamar's done things that I don't think I've seen any other human, let alone just a quarterback, running back, receiver. Like the way he's made people look foolish and made people miss. I don't know if I've ever seen people do it the way he did it. I mean, he had breakaway speed. The spin move was crazy. I mean, just the amount of ankles he took, especially just not just especially, but just in general. Like, I mean, the man, I've never seen someone make more people look foolish, and he did it at the quarterback position. So when it comes to being a runner, give me Lamar every time. Who you taking?
Yeah, Vic was special with his legs, but I gotta go Lamar as well. Coming from a Louisville fan, but I've seen this since college. The way he makes guys miss is insane. Like he hasn't done it much in the NFL, but he was hurdling over guys in college, which is absolutely crazy. His breakaway speed is insane. Like a wide receiver or running back, I don't know how many times you've heard people say Lamar could be a running back or a receiver. That's insane to say about a quarterback. That just shows you how fast that guy is. And when he's fully healthy, he's one of the dangerous guys with the football in his hands at any position. So I'm right with you, Will Lamar.
Alrighty, next. Which one of these quarterbacks are you taking? Uh, who you taking? Well, who you taking to start your franchise? Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, or Drake May? And give me Caleb Williams. And not only am I getting Caleb Williams, like, can I get Ben Johnson too? Because Caleb's got all the tools. We obviously seen all the awesome plays he made this year, but he did miss some easy balls. But if you compare his first year to his second year and the improvement he had, if he can keep improving like that, I mean, I don't see why he can't be top five, top three, be elite, lead the Bears to a Super Bowl, do all that's involved in doing. And if I can get a head coach like Ben Johnson and help him develop like that, I think he's got more tools than the rest of these guys. And I think he improved, he got better. And I think if he can keep doing that, he can be the best out of this bunch. Who you taking?
I'm right there with you with Caleb Williams. We saw this year why he was the number one pick. A lot of people questioned it last year with Jaden Daniels breaking out, Bo Nix. But yeah, all his physical tools. I think Caleb made some of the craziest throws this year, and he just made some phenomenal throws. Yes, he missed some easy ones, but you got to think a lot of that is fixable. Some of that I believe was just mechanics, but yeah, just like you said, Fred, the improvements he made from year one to year two was insane, and you can see the MVP caliber potential that I think this guy has. I think he can get into that MVP conversation like Drake May was this year. If he makes those easy throws, which I think he will, then he's gonna be a dangerous quarterback for years to come in Chicago. So I got Caleb.
Alrighty, that's it for who you taking next. We're moving on to true or false. The first one, true or false. The Cowboys should not re-sign George Pickens, and I'm going to go true because I mean we saw what happened in Cincinnati. They signed Higgins, they signed Chase. We've seen what the defense looked like. They signed their quarterback. They'd literally just be following the Bengals trend. And you know what the Cowboys also suck at? Defense. You know what the Bengals suck at? Defense. So like I love George Pickens. I think he should get paid. Somebody should pay him a lot of money. Like I listed earlier, I mean, I think he's a top five receiver, but the Cowboys should not be the team that signs him. They should roll with CD. They should roll with Dak, and then they should really improve. Use that money to improve that defense. So, which way are you going on this one?
Yeah, this was tough. I'm gonna go true. I think they should sign him. Yes, it will take a big salary cap hit to the Cowboys, who probably need some more defenders on that defensive side. But what we saw with him and CD, it was dominant. I think this was the best 1-2 combo in all of the NFL. You saw when he came to Dallas, there was no on the field or off the field issues. I don't know if that's just a Steelers thing. We'll get into that, but he didn't have any issues. Well, outside of the Vegas thing, I would say. But this was the best 1-2 combo with him and Lamb on the field. It's hard to game plan for both of those guys when they're in the lineup at the same time. So I think even though it's gonna cost a lot of money to re-sign them, I think that's something you need to do. And maybe in the draft is where you can focus on getting some guys on that defensive end. So I'm gonna say true.
Alrighty, next one. True or false? Letting Sam Darnold go is the only reason the Vikings GM was fired, and I'm going to go true because picking quarterbacks is what fires GM, what gets GMs fired, and what gets GMs re-signed. Because you know who got John Lynch re-signed? That'd be Brock Purdy. Because you know what would have happened if they didn't draft Brock Purdy? they would have drafted Trey Lance, who they got rid of, and then that's something that gets a GM fired. You got your quarterback, you signed him. You went 14-3. You struggled. You lost. He struggled a couple games. Struggled against the Lions. Struggled against the Rams. But that's no reason to get rid of him. He goes to Seattle. They pay him 30 something million per year, which is very reasonable for a good quarterback. And now they're 14-3 and they're going to the Super Bowl. So I think that's maybe not the main or the only. That's kind of letting it go, but the main reason because as a GM, if you find your quarterback, you're in a pretty good spot. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely go true as well because when you look at the timing of it, it was literally a few days right after the Super Bowl. The regular season's been over for 2 to 3 weeks at this point, and it happened right after Sam Darnold clinches to go to the Super Bowl. This was definitely it. The Vikings probably felt like they they made a mistake at the quarterback position. I think they analyzed the 2 games Darnold lost more so than the 14 games that he won. So yeah, although it was the 2 most important games, but I don't think they looked at the 14-win season that they had. And then yeah, just the timing of it. I think this definitely had to do all to do with Darnold and the fact that you drafted JJ with all these high expectations and it hasn't came to fruition just yet. But yeah, I think that that's all it had to do with.
Well, and I think also the problem is like the Vikings never thought, which a lot of people didn't thought. They thought a lot of media people and everyone was like, "Oh, he's no like he can't do it during the big time." But if you look at a lot of young guys, they struggle in big time games when they're young. And if we're being honest, Sam Darnold's not young, but that was his first couple of times starting in big games. He played for the Jets and the Panthers. You think he really played in big
Exactly.
games for the Jets and the Panthers? He played in really his first 2 big games. He struggled, but that happens with guys who doesn't haven't done it a lot. And then he learned from that last year, and look what he did this year. Now he didn't do a lot in the 49ers game, but they didn't ask him to. There was games Brady threw for 100 yards and they ran it 45 times. And then when they needed him, he threw for 350, 3 touchdowns, and led them to a Super Bowl. So yeah, I agree with you there that they looked at the 2 bad games instead of the other games, which he was phenomenal the rest of the year, and he was really good this year. So yeah, well, I think that was a well, it was just a mistake. Ain't really no other way to phrase it. Last true or false?
Mm-hmm.
True or false? Every receiver's well, start that again. True or false? Every receiver the Steelers draft will have problems, and I'll go true because it just happens every time. We sign a guy. I'm like, oh, we didn't draft DK. Oh, he punches a fan in the face. Oh, we drafted Antonio Brown. I mean, well, now he's an attempted murderer. We drafted Martavis Bryant. Oh, he just got. I mean, he got kicked out of the league because he couldn't stop smoking dope. I mean, it's just every receiver. Oh, my fault. Chase Claypool. Oh, 6'4", 230, Mapletron. And then he celebrates first down when there's 20 seconds left in the game. Juju Smith Schuster. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing TikToks, but I mean, you do TikToks on the Bengals field, doing your little thing, and then you get your head knocked off. There's something mentally. I don't know what happens, what they feed them in that Steelers facility, what they drink on in that receiver room, but feels like everyone we draft will have their problem. I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something. And it's every time. What are your thoughts?
I'm right there with you, True, and you know best as a Steelers fan. All the guys you just named, as well as Deontay Johnson, who I mean, the list just goes on and on with.
I forgot about
I
him.
feel like all of these, yeah, that's the amount of people that y'all have had that have just made bonehead mistakes on and off the field. Most of these guys have made terrible decisions on and off the field, and maybe it was a Mike Tomlin thing. We'll see if that happens when Mike McCarthy's here, but I don't know. Tomlin couldn't get those guys together, so it definitely seems like a Steelers thing.
Well, it's funny because I'm like I'm making fun of saying like yeah they have problems, but I mean we've drafted so many receivers that are good at football. I mean Antonio Brown had a
Yeah.
6 year stretch. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody have a better stretch. Santonio Holmes. I mean these guys like weren't problems like Santonio Holmes and Hines Ward, but like drafted those two. I mean drafted Plexico Burris,
Hmm.
drafted Martavis Bryant, drafted Claypool, drafted Smith Schuster, drafted Pickens. Like they, oh my God, forgot
Pickens.
about Pickens.
Yeah.
That I mean, yeah, that we seen what he was a 15-yard penalty
Yeah.
merchant. I mean,
Pickens.
we knew what he. Yeah, it was just, and that's what's funny is they're good at football. They're just, off the
All right.
field and on the field, the decision making is not the greatest. But we'll see. Like you said, we got new head coach, so we'll see how it rolls. All right, that's it for true or false. Last thing we are going to discuss on today's show. We are going to rank the AFC North for next year. I will go first. My rankings for the AFC North, from 4 to 1 is going to be Browns at 4. I mean, there's no reason they're not here. They don't have a quarterback. They got Todd Monken, which he's been a solid play caller, but no talent on offense, and they're just the Browns. They're going to stink. At 3, I'm going to go Steelers. I mean, we're either going to have 40 whatever year old Aaron Rodgers, or we're going to play a young quarterback that hasn't played. We got a new head coach. I mean, we still do have a lot of young talent, more than people think, but I just don't think we're more talented than the teams I have at second and first. Second's Bengals. I think they're going to have well, I think the Ravens and the Bengals both do, but the Bengals are going to have a comeback here. I think Burrow's going to be healthy. I think they're going to improve the defense finally, just a little bit, to where they maybe don't give up 30 points a game, and I think they'll finish second, make the playoffs, and I think the Ravens will win next year. I think Mentor will have that defense rolling. Lamar will come back. He'll be healthy. He'll play like an MVP again. And Derrick Henry's still there, so they'll run the crap out of it. And I think they'll be a top 2 seed next year. So that's my rankings for the AFC North. What are yours, Philly?
Yep. I'll go 4 Browns. They still need a lot on offense and defense. Probably need to reshape their whole offensive line. Still figuring out the quarterback situation. You're probably losing your defensive coordinator, and you need a lot of guys on that back half of the defense and somebody to help Miles Garrett on that line. So still need a lot of changes there. 3, I'm gonna go Bengals. I love what they do offensively, but when you don't invest in your defense, you've seen what that's happened since Joe Burrow's been there. So I think if they don't get their defense together, they're gonna continuously fall into that third position in this division. 2, I'm gonna go the Steelers. I know there's still a lot of question with losing Tomlin. You might lose a few big older guys that you've had on that roster for a while. But I just think Mike McCarthy, he's still a pretty good coach. He's only had 5 losing seasons out of his 18 when he's been a head coach. So I think the Steelers can still carry on the tradition of the winning record with Mike McCarthy. So I'll have Steelers at my 2, and Ravens, I'll have them winning this division as well. I think Lamar's gonna come back healthy. Mentor will have that defense playing well. Derrick Henry's gonna have one of his best seasons, I believe. And I think they go and get a number 1 wide receiver to pair with Zay Flowers. I think Ravens make some moves on that offensive end. So I'll go 1 Ravens.
All righty, that's it for ranking the AFC North. Any other thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I think that's it.
All righty, we'll see y'all on Saturday.